All right, so good evening, everyone. Good evening, and welcome back to Watchdog News. This is Jared Campbell. Please like, share, subscribe, and follow us. So, this evening, we're going to talk about some global shifts and turbulence, Germany's crossroads, Ukraine's struggle, and a world in flux. So, this is a Watchdog News special report. So, welcome back to Watchdog News. Tonight, we'll bring you a deep dive report covering some of the biggest global stories. In this report, we'll explore how Germany is at crossroads after its recent elections, the enduring battle of Ukraine, significant moves by the EU and UN, the shifting US-Russia ties, and high-level diplomatic maneuvers worldwide. From coalition challenges and rising far-right forces in Germany to symbolic visits to Kyiv, fragile ceasefires in Gaza, and bold proposals from Trump. Our report covers it all. Simple, straightforward language. So get with me, let's follow me, and let's break down each significant development. So let's start with section 1 of the report. So Germany's political crossroads, election outcome, and the CDU's position. What is the CDU? It's the Christian Democrat, right? It's a party in Germany. They won only 28.5% of the vote, a very low number, despite what some called a Pyrrhic victory. So it was won at great cost, right? Friedrich Merz, set to become the next chancellor. This low vote share shows many voters are unhappy with the old ways. The CDU now faces a narrow majority in a five-party parliament. So forming a strong government will be strict. Coalition formation challenges. Merz has contacted the Social Democrats, SPD, to build a grand coalition. Together, they barely passed the majority line, with 329 seats out of 319 needed. Other more minor parties, like the Greens or even Sarah Wagenknecht's group, might need to join the talks. Germany's multi-party system makes forming a stable government a big challenge. The rise of far-right alternative for Germany, AfD. The far-right AfD is now the second largest party with about 20% of the vote, doing exceptionally well in the former East and among young voters. This rise has many worried that extremist views may become normal if the current trends continue. External influences and endorsements. Unusual endorsements are in the mix. Elon Musk. So Elon Musk reportedly backed the AfD, while Donald Trump congratulated the CDU and Merz. These global figures bring extra attention to Germany's future, though it's hard to tell how much they change voter opinions. Economic and energy policy issues. Many voters cited key themes of peace, security, and economic issues. Angela Merkel's old deal with Putin provided cheap gas but came with risks, showing that short-term economic benefits can clash with long-term goals. Merz policy challenges and future direction. Merz now faces many tough choices, building a coalition, dealing with differences within his party, and setting a new course for Germany and Europe. His past votes, alongside the AfD on asylum rules, show that he is already dealing with internal tensions. European and international expectations. Leaders like Greece's prime minister expect a strong, unified Germany to lead European defense. Merz will be under pressure to balance Germany's national interests with the demands of EU partners overall in Germany. The election is a mixed win, a comeback for Merz but filled with challenges. Deep divisions and rising extremist forces means Germany's next steps require rugged, decisive leadership. Part 2. So Section 2, the EU and UN. Commitments to Ukraine. So UN General Assembly resolution. On February 24, 2025, the UN General Assembly adopted a resolution that reaffirms global support for Ukraine and its territorial integrity, marking the third year since Russia's invasion. The U.S. drafted a version, but European nations pushed for a stronger language about Russia's full-scale invasion and called for a just peace. In the end, the U.S. had to abstain from the vote. EU leadership in Kyiv, European Commission. President Ursula von der Leyen visited Kyiv on the symbolic date and stated a free and national sovereign Ukraine is in the interest of the whole world, linking Ukraine's fate with Europe's future. Von der Leyen promised a new 3.5 billion aid package for Ukraine to be released in March and stressed the need for fast weapon delivery and a plan to boost European defense production, strengthening Ukraine's resilience. This aid is part of a total of 134 billion already given and is meant to help Ukraine meet its immediate needs and resist Putin's pressure. Plans also include integrating energy markets with Moldova and Ukraine to secure energy supplies until 2026. Security Council and future talks. The UN Security Council is scheduled to hold a follow-up meeting to discuss Ukraine's security further. This may be the first such vote since the war began. Overall, the UK reign and the UN, EU, even as debates and negotiations over peace continue, the international community backs Ukraine with substantial economic and military aid. Section 3, Israel, Gaza, and a fragile ceasefire. Hamas and ceasefire conditions. So Hamas has threatened to stop its indirect talks with Israel if it demands for the release of 620 Palestinian prisoners is not met. This demand is tied to the fragile ceasefire that began on January 19th after 15 months of conflict. Israel, however, postponed the prisoner release, demanding further conditions first. Israeli government's readiness for conflict, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu stated that Israel is ready to resume intense fighting in Gaza at any time if the ceasefire breaks down. The Israeli army has raised its readiness level in the West Bank. 40,000 Palestinians have been expelled from refugee camps, with further military plans announced. Expert opinion on the ceasefire. An expert from Beck International expressed doubt that extending the current phase of the ceasefire would work, adding that the deal remains very unstable. Overall, the situation in Gaza remains highly volatile. Unmet conditions and prisoner exchanges and shifting U.S. support increase the risk of renewed conflict. Section 4, Ukraine's enduring resistance and mineral deals. Zelensky's message on the third anniversary on the third anniversary. So on the third anniversary of Russia's invasion, Ukrainian President Zelensky held 3 years of resistance, gratitude, and heroism, and thanked all who defend Ukraine and shared a video showing the daily struggles of Ukrainians on the front lines. Mineral deal between Ukraine and the U.S. Ukraine and the U.S. are now in the final stages of negotiating a deal over Ukraine's minerals. Earlier, Zelensky had rejected a deal that would have given the U.S. access to half of Ukraine's rare earth reserves in return for American military support. The final agreement still lacks details, such as which minerals will be included or the terms of security guarantees. Ukraine's rich deposits of lithium and titanium and other critical resources could play a key role in its future, but any deal must protect its sovereignty. Zelensky's victory plan. Last year, Zelensky proposed that foreign companies could gain control access to Ukraine's mineral wealth after the war in exchange for joint protection and investment. This plan is part of Ukraine's long-term strategy to rebuild and secure its economic future while preserving national control. Overall, UK and UK's economy and security. The potential mineral deal shows Ukraine's economic and security issues are tightly linked. The country must balance foreign aid with the protection of its natural resources. Moving on to Section 5, shifting U.S.-Russia relations and global diplomacy. Trump's discussions with Putin. President Donald Trump announced that he is in serious discussions with Russian President Putin about ending the war in Ukraine and making major economic deals between the U.S. and Russia. Trump also highlighted a critical minerals and rare earth agreement with Ukraine, saying it would help recover billions of dollars in aid and military equipment while boosting Ukraine's economy. high-level meetings at the White House. Trump welcomed French President Emmanuel Macron to the White House during a meeting linked to the G7 summit. This meeting marked the third anniversary of the Russian-Ukrainian war. Trump claimed that if we are smart, the war could end soon, though he warned that failure might even lead to a more significant conflict. Contradictory rhetoric and policy shifts. While Trump has called Ukrainian President Zelensky a dictator and criticized his leadership, he still pushes for talks that include Putin, showing a clear shift from previous U.S. policies. His stance has caused friction with many international allies and raised concerns about long-term U.S. support for Ukraine. Assessing U.S.-Russia ties, some experts point out that Trump's approach looks like a return to the warm ties seen before the Biden administration, aiming for the balance with Russia and questioning Ukraine's role in NATO. The debate over U.S.-Russia relations continues, with some arguing that closer ties with Moscow may benefit global balance. In contrast, others worry that they undermine the defense of smaller nations like Ukraine. Overall, global diplomacy, Trump's policy signals a significant shift in American foreign policy. This realignment is causing ripples across international alliances and may reshape the global order for years to come. Section 6, high-level diplomatic engagement and controversies. So Merz, the new German counselor with Netanyahu from Israel, a controversial call. Germany's incoming Chancellor, Friedrich Merz, spoke with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu on the phone. And the call, Merz promised to invite Netanyahu to Germany, even though the International Criminal Court, ICC, has issued an arrest warrant against him for alleged war crimes during the Gaza conflict. Netanyahu congratulated Merz on his electoral victory, despite the legal challenges he faced. This call shows how strategic relations can proceed internationally. This call shows how strategic relations can proceed international legal issues. The ICC arrest warrant, some background. So last November, the ICC issued an arrest warrant for Benjamin Netanyahu, former Israeli defense chief Yoav Gallant, and Hamas leader Abraham al-Masri. Israel rejects the ICC's decision, and the move remains a significant point of contention in international diplomacy. Overall diplomatic tensions. The conversation between Merz and Netanyahu highlighted the problematic choices leaders face when balancing legal, political, and strategic interests in a turbulent world. Section 7 of the report. Additional international developments. So Silicon Valley and political realignment. An upcoming event in Athens will be titled From Hippies to Neoliberalism and the Far Right. How and why Silicon Valley elites aligned with Trump. This event explores how digital tech leaders move from counterculture roots to supporting far-right politics and how this shift helped Trump win the presidency. Canadian petition against Elon Musk. Over 150,000 Canadians have signed a petition asking the government to revoke Elon Musk's Canadian citizenship. The petition, led by Quala Reid and supported by MP Charlie Angus, accuses Musk of aligning with Trump and acting against Canadian national interests. Born in South Africa, Musk gained Canadian citizenship through his mother, who is from Saskatchewan. Regina, Saskatchewan. EU sanctions on Syria eased. The EU has suspended sanctions on Syria and key economic sectors, such as energy and transport. This move is meant to support Syria's economic recovery and reconstruction while keeping strict measures against the Assad regime on issues like chemical weapons and arms trade. Meeting in Ankara. Russia and Turkey foreign ministers Sergei Lavrov met with Turkish President Erdogan and the foreign minister Hakan Fidan in Ankara. Turkey offered to host future peace talks between Russia and Ukraine and discuss issues in Syria, including security concerns and the fight against groups like the Islamic State. Lavrov criticized U.S. bases in Syria and called for an inconclusive political process in the country. As I close out, we have traced a broad tapestry of global events and shifting alliances in today's report. Germany faces a complex political movement as the CDU wins with a narrow majority, and the rise of the far right challenges its future. Meanwhile, Ukraine stands firm against Russian aggression, backed by strong EU and UN support, yet faces pressure from shifting U.S. policies and tough negotiations over its valuable resources. In other parts of the world, Israel's fragile ceasefire in Gaza, contentious talks between global leaders, and dramatic policy shifts from Trump further complicate an already volatile global stage. High-level meetings from Washington to Ankara, underlying that international diplomacy is at a crossroads. As these stories unfold, one thing remains clear. The world is transforming profoundly. Leaders must now navigate economic, military, and political challenges to steer their nations towards a more stable and secure future. Stay tuned as Watchdog News continues to monitor these critical developments. Thank you all again for following. I'm here for every single one of you, right? I will always report the objective truth to all of you because truth is important, right? Stay vigilant, stay watchful, right? Stay mindful, use discernment, right? And never ever hold back. Seek truth. It's what I do daily. I seek truth for all of you. I hope you enjoy this news report. It's put together by me, Watchdog News, in association with Watchdog Ministries. Thank you all again. Here in the coming weeks, we will get back to our studies in the book of Revelation for Watchdog News. Until then, I'm going to keep up with the updates. I love you all so much. Have a very blessed evening. So once again, this is Jared Wesley Campbell with Watchdog News. I love you all so much. I am now signing off. Everyone have a blessed evening.